A vibrant city deserves a vibrant car. I'm here with a brand new Nissan Z, all new, exciting, but not as exciting as talking about it with the lead designer globally, Alfonso Albaisa. How are you? Here he is, Miami Zone. Good to be with you.
Miami Zone, yes.
Miami Zone. You are 4 blocks from where you grew up with the vehicle that you designed, a bit of a homecoming. I want you to take me through this vehicle and tell me parts that you like and parts that maybe some people might not know about. So let's start with the front. A lot of people think that it looks like a big open mouth, but you have a different idea, right?
Yes, obviously on social media, we found out very quickly that some people didn't understand our motivation for the front. So for us, the grille itself is a result of lines. So the hood on the 240, especially because we were obsessed. Like we have flirted with 240 before, but we never really got into the science.
Yeah.
So the 240 had a couple of beautiful elements, those little filler caps there. So we couldn't do those, we don't need those, but there's a character line that comes in, and the way it arcs and touches this parting line was key. It's a bit subtle, but the big stuff about the grille, the grille was really a result of the line that came straight down and this beautiful forward edge of the hood. And the grille was a consequence of those two major movements. So we wanted the nose quite low, and we extended the actual front of the car to get this feeling. So yes, it's a big square, but it's twin turbo, needs to breathe.
Makes a statement. Well, you got to send some air through there too,
send
right?
a lot of air. Actually, we fell in love with some of these 1970s type of graphics. And we split up the rectangular volume with these two details, which we then, echoed. These shapes are really the echo of the 300Z tail lamp that happens to make its way forward.
Trailing off of the characteristics of the 240, you get into the headlamps.
Yeah.
And you really wanted to emulate what you had there.
Very much. And this was the biggest struggle of the project, actually, because naturally the 240 had a round lamp. And with this kind of very long hood and upward facing volume, that round lamp was proving to be honest, a bit cute. And we didn't want that. It's a 240, it's 400 horsepower.
It's got to be aggressive.
It has
got
to be aggressive.
Yeah.
We, at our Heritage Museum, we have a few of the long nose modifications that were in the Japanese market that had a covered lens. And what we found is, as you can see here, the covered lens has so many reflections that the round lamp was never fully visible. And we said, Eureka!
Yeah.
So we split the signature so that it completes a circle, but it looks like it's interrupted by reflections and stuff. So it happened in the 11th hour, to be honest. It kind of nail biter.
Yeah.
But we got there.
One of those midnight sessions.
Yes.
And a couple of Easter eggs in this vehicle that we're going to get to, but there's something that's kind of hiding in here, isn't there?
We have hiding in here, but we're also, which we'll get to as we walk around the back, is since 1969. And all of these things. Now, depending on the market, the lamps change. And so this is a US lamp which has a reflector on the side. The Japanese one does not. So there's a lot. There's almost too much to discuss. The new logo, it's not part of Z Heritage, but all these things were happening at the same time.
Yeah.
And not specific to any particular car, but it helps the feeling of modernity of the car. And to be honest, we have a body color that's this color, which is so cool because you only see the white of the logo and this kind of stuff. So we had this ability, these colors are all harmonized. Even though obsessed about 240, we were also obsessed about what makes a modern car today, the proportions. Yes, super long hood and a very short deck, but it's very wide, and the rear fender is a lot more haunchy and like a cat going to leap.
So let's talk about that, because this was one of the striking features, was how you were able to raise the rear almost a slope down, right?
If you look at this height, which is just above my hip, and then you come around the back and you'll see that this is so much lower. This in the modern era is a bit difficult, but for us, this is what defined the 240. So that the hood was, yes, long, but it was also quite full of volume. And the rear had this graceful tapering finish. This was accentuated actually by one of our designers decided to put this katana sword on this because we knew we were going to have the black roofs, but it helped like really put an exclamation point on this diving silhouette. and that's what, of course, we had to have the logo. And we had a modern one, but again, the one that went back to the 240 was the unanimous selection.
And now coming directly into what would be a really retro tail.
Yes, we love this.
Beautiful lights.
This was really to show the power of the rear-wheel drive. We really tapered the cabin in as much as we can. It's still a practical car. You can get golf clubs or anything in the back. And then my love of the 300. I mean, this was one that I like holding on to no matter what the influence is coming in. And strangely enough, this little groove line, which was originally black, but we found that with this kind of a V-shaped section, it actually completed the form a lot like the 300, but allowed us to make the black much smaller than the 300. Again, making it much wider. Everything we wanted in the rear is kind of lowered, wider, and just get out of my way. I'm having a good afternoon.
Well, so many vehicles these days have this kind of trendy sloped back, right?
Yeah.
Interesting now to have a little bit more of a chop and then the spoiler integrated in here.
Yes. So
You're taking a new direction.
we really wanted this edge, so we emphasized it going down, and like you're saying, and then little ducktail that for us is 240s.
Absolutely true. You want to talk about the interior?
Sure.
We'll have you take the passenger side and tell me what you like mostly about what we've been able to do here.
The 240 was quite horizontal, thin instrument panel, and previous Zs tended to have a lot more volume in the center. We wanted to break that because this is a car that just you're holding the wheel, you're looking at your gauges, it's all about driving. So it's very minimal, a bit like the exterior, and very purposeful. But it's quite artistic and playful about combining elements, the way this little line grabs the vents and then goes into the digital meter, which was a blast to design. And the steering, everything about this car is really about
That manual transmission,
the
pure
manual.
driving. What I remember most growing up and focused on the old Datsuns and Nissans was, of course, the pivot of those 3 dials.
This was a must. This was not
You
a
had to have it, right?
And the only thing we wanted to change is that because in the digital era you have a tendency to have very sharp, small lines. We mimicked what the digital gauges aesthetically to the analog gauges. So when the car is in its full digital meter mode, you'll see that there is a similarity. No debate on whether those were going to be there, and tilted towards you because you're really enjoying the drive and you want to feel all the needles moving.
Anything else that inside that, because I know you had a special interest in how this interior was going to come together.
Yeah.
Anything else that really strikes you that you're most satisfied with?
That we were able to handle the trends that the normal human beings need for technology on a car that we didn't want to feel overtly technology.
Right.
So the integration of screens into the volumes, these screens are not popping up. They seem like they have been absorbed, embraced by the shape and the love of 240. It's very easy to say this after we're finished, but you can imagine life is interesting in a design studio, and big screens like this have a tendency to conflict with stuff. So the guys really nailed it and they really embedded it, and these things were, I think, they're very important. I'm proud of the teams for creating an interior that feels quite modern but still driver oriented, driver focused. This is for people who obviously love driving cars and feeling like you're driving.
It's a thrill to drive this, and congratulations on putting together the next Z and such a comprehensive, fun, sporty package.
Thank you so much.
Alfonso, thank you.
Thanks so much.
Cars and Culture on the road. We'll see you again next time.